The hostages in Iraq have been released. But what about the hostages still in Lebanon? One of these three men was one of them. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is David Jacobsen.
Number two.
My name is David Jacobsen.
Number three.
My name is David Jacobsen.
Only one of these people is the real David Jacobsen and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur, Orson Bean. Actress and cartoon voice, Dana Hill. Film and television producer, David Niven Jr. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to our program. Good morning, panel.
Good morning.
We're going to get right to our first story, represented by this team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be David Jacobsen. Please follow along as I read the affidavit. I, David Jacobsen, spent 1.5 years as a hostage in Beirut, Lebanon. Even though the prisoners have been released from Iraq, we still have hostages in Beirut. In 1985, I was forced into a van and taken at gunpoint to an undisclosed location. I was stripped to my underwear, blindfolded, and chained to the floor. I was like a rabbit in a cage. I was permitted out of the cell for only 15 minutes each day. After the Reagan administration refused to negotiate our release, I was forced to videotape a message imploring our government to reconsider. The terrorists accused me of sending secret messages on that videotape. I was then put in isolation and tortured. After 17 months of captivity, I was finally released. My book, entitled Hostage, My Nightmare in Beirut, has a happy ending for me, but real happiness will only come when the remaining hostages are freed. Signed, David Jacobsen. Welcome, gentlemen. We'll find out more about this former hostage right after this commercial break.
A 10-0 right now.
A happy ending for one man, but a tragic story nevertheless. Three people, all claiming to be David Jacobsen, who was held hostage in Beirut for over a year. We'll start the questioning with you, Kitty.
What an extraordinary story. Number three, after you were chained to the floor and only allowed out every once a day, how were your legs?
They were very cramped, so we did have an opportunity to exercise and took advantage of that whenever we could.
Number two, were you sending secret messages?
Not at all.
No. Number one, do you now know ways that you could help our government to pinpoint where some of our hostages are?
Yes, I do.
Could you tell me how?
There's a way of getting information in Lebanon by offering rewards for information.
Number two, why is it that we haven't done that then?
That's the question that I really would like to know.
Yeah. And
All right, time's up. David, over to you.
Thank you. Number one, what were you doing in Beirut that they wanted to kidnap you?
Well, I was an American first, and secondly, I was the administrator of the American University of Beirut Medical Center.
Okay. Number two, did you try to escape?
There was no use to try to escape.
All right, staying with you, number two, what section of Beirut were you held in?
That's a sensitive area.
Okay, let's dodge the issue there. Number three, where is Baalbek? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Number one.
You won't get a chance for that question, but Dana will.
I'll continue. Number one, Terry Anderson is the best known of the remaining hostages there. How many other hostages are in Lebanon presently?
Well, there are 5 other Americans, 4 Englishmen, 2 Germans, and 1 poor Italian grandfather.
Okay. And number two, did you suffer any medical problems? I'm assuming you lost a lot of weight while you were a hostage. How much weight did you lose?
As a matter of fact, I didn't lose more than about 6 pounds.
And number three, why were you released after 17 months? Why did they finally decide to release you?
I was fortunate enough to become involved in the Iran-Contra affair. I was actually traded for about 280 missiles.
Okay. And
Let's go to Orson.
Number 5, most of...
5?
I was thinking of the 5 hostages.
Orson figures this show is going to prime time, and we're going to have 5 challengers.
All right, number 5. Number 1, most of the hostages are from the American University or are professors, or why do they go for those as opposed to military men?
Well, the real culprits in all of this is Iran and Islamic Jihad are nothing more than hunting dogs, and they're trying to extract multi-billion dollars from the United States government.
Number 3, then why do they bother to mistreat you? Why did they do that? Sadism?
No, the 4 or 5 guys that watched over us in their own minds weren't at all sadistic. They actually at several times remarked to each other and to us that they felt they were treating us quite well.
Well, number 2, is it a totally different mindset from ours that we can never understand then?
I think we could never understand it.
And on that note, we'll wrap up the questioning. It's time now for our panelists to vote for the gentleman they feel is the real former hostage. Will they vote for number 1? Will they vote for number 2? Or number 3? Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panel is fooled completely, the team will receive $3,000. For whom did you vote, Kitty?
Well, I don't believe number 3 is the one. You couldn't have lived in that area for very long and not know where Baalbek was. Number 1 gave an awful lot of information, which is unusual for the real one, but I liked his attitude and his mind.
All righty, a vote for number 1. David?
Well, I didn't vote for number 3 because about my question about Baalbek as the great archaeological temple, and it's only 45 minutes outside of the center of Beirut. Number 2 didn't know what section of Beirut he was held in, so I'm only left with number 1.
Dana?
I know who David Jacobsen is, and let me say it's because I heard him speak one time quite articulately and marvelously about the hostage situation, and I admire his courage through all of this. But I know who it is, so I'm just qualifying myself.
All right, well, that means at least 1 incorrect vote for the team. Orson, for whom did you vote?
When 1 first walked out, I said, I have to disqualify myself. I recognize him. Then 2 came. I said, now I recognize him. And when 3 came, I said, that's the guy. You know, shows you how good I voted for number 2. I don't know who it is. They're all great liars.
All right, we have 2 votes in for number 1, 1 vote for number 2, and 1 disqualification. Time now to find out who was really held captive for 17 months. Will the real David Jacobsen please stand up? It is number 1. And Mr. Jacobsen had a very serious look about him throughout all of this. And you touched on something in response to one of the questions that I'm sure we'd like to pursue, and that is, what is there that our government could do, in your opinion, to help speed the release of the remaining hostages?
Well, I think really the American people can do something, and that is to write your congressmen, your senators, ask them what are they doing, and to bring these men home, because in a couple of days, Terry Anderson is beginning his 7th year as a hostage. In a couple of months, Tom Sutherland, his 7th year, and the other men are all close to beginning their 5th year. So public pressure will keep the bureaucracy moving, and we have a good chance now.
All right, we tend to forget how long they have been there. 1 further question. One of the imposters, number 2, said that he thought that he didn't think we would ever understand the Islamic mind. Do you feel that way also?
No, we can understand them,
yeah,
if we take the time to learn about them.
All righty. Let's find out about the imposters then. There was 1 vote for you, number 2. Tell us about yourself, sir.
My name is Bill Durrell, and I'm a graphic artist for a printing company.
And number 3.
My name is Charles F. Trebek. I'm a supervising deputy probation officer for Los Angeles County.
Well, it was a pleasure having you here. There was 1 incorrect vote, 1 disqualification, and that means 2 votes at $500 each, and that means the team will receive $1,000. And our thanks, of course, for being with us today to help bring out a very important story on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back with a woman who credits our program, To Tell the Truth, with helping her find her real mother. The story after this.
I saw Gene again yesterday. It was good.
How are you and Alex doing? He shows up every day, right on time.
Richard, Alex, Chuck, the men from GSN. Weekdays from 9 to 3, only on GSN.
Nutrients go in and skin feels beautiful. Introducing the first body lotion by Dove.
Take back the game at GSN.com.
From a rather sad story to an uplifting story as we meet our next group of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Mary Morann.
Number 2.
My name is Mary Morann.
Number 3.
My name is Mary Morann.
Interesting pronunciations. Let me read the affidavit. I, Mary Morann, or Mary Morann, can finally say I have a mother thanks to this program, To Tell the Truth. Back in 1975, I was watching an episode featuring a woman who was adopted. She wrote a book about finding her real mother. So I went out and bought the book because I was looking for my real mother. As an adopted child, I had always felt a part of me was missing. So I began a search for my birth mother. I didn't even know her name. But once I found it, I tracked down the agency that had arranged the adoption. My search almost ended when they told me my mother had died. But then I learned they had confused my mother with another woman of the same name. After a 7-year search, I found her in the town where I was raised. At first, my mother wanted the reunion kept secret. But now, we're one big happy family. My mother, my 3 sisters, and my 36 first cousins. All of it thanks to Tell the Truth. Signed, Mary Morann. Kitty says, a nice story, and it is indeed. We're going to start the questioning with you, Orson.
What a wonderful story. I'm trying to picture one of you 3 girls in a basket on a doorstep. Number 1, now you got the cousins and the sisters and everything as part of the whole package?
Yes.
Number 3, why did your real mom want to keep it secret?
Because she had 2 other daughters, and she was hesitant to tell them about it at first.
Well, number 2, were they as thrilled to find you as you were to find them?
Oh, yes. Once we were reunited, they were very thrilled.
Number 1 is your...
No time for that. Dana.
Number 1, what was the name of the book from 1975 that you read?
In Search of Anna Fisher.
Okay, and number 2, how did the agency track down your mother after all those years?
Well, the agency didn't actually track her down. I tracked her down.
Okay,
the agency helped as much as they could, which was very little help. I came to dead ends.
Okay, and number 3, do you use your adopted family's name, or is that your mother's name?
I use my adopted family's name.
Okay, and number 3, why has your mother stayed in town where you were raised all those years?
Well, she was transferred there. She works for the telephone company, and she was transferred there later after I had gone there with my adoptive parents.
Okay.
Great questions, Dana. Orson is fascinated when you get into questions. Let's go to
It's almost
David.
like she's real. I mean,
Yes.
it's wonderful.
Yes. David?
Number 1, at what age did your adopted parents tell you you were adopted?
Right as soon as I was old enough to understand.
Okay, and number 2, when you finally found your mother, what reason did she give to you for having put you up for adoption?
She told me the truth, that I was an illegitimate child, and that it would have ruined her whole family had they known about me.
Okay,
Kitty, we go to you.
Number 3, do you know who your papa was?
Yes, I do.
And have you seen him?
No, I haven't.
And number 1, what an extraordinary coincidence that your mother came back to the town and you came to the town. How big was the town?
About 8,000 people.
And number 2, did you ever bump into her and realize later that you had bumped into her at the supermarket or something?
No, I didn't.
You never saw her?
No.
All right, time's up, panel. Time for you to cast your votes for the woman you feel is the real Mary Morann. Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3? Orson, for whom did you vote?
Could be, mercy, the crowd is getting surly. Could be any of them. I voted for number 2. She just looks so sweet and happy and content, and just seems like life has been good to her.
Some of the people in the audience obviously agree with you.
The crowd agrees with you, Orson.
Dana, you came to life during the questioning. How did that influence you in your voting?
Well, you know, I just think they're all 3 wonderful women, and I admire the one that went to all this to find her real mother, and they're all lovely, and it was a shot in the dark, and I went with number 3.
All righty, David?
I didn't have a clue as to which one of the 3 it is, which is not unusual for me. However, I thought number 2 looked just the same sort of facial expressions as the little baby whose photograph we saw earlier.
And Kitty?
When I saw them up there, I thought it was really number 3, and then when she said her name, I thought it was number 3. So I voted for number 3.
All righty. Let's review the votes then. No votes came in for number 1, 2 for number 2, and 2 votes for number 3. So let's find out now, ladies and gentlemen, who really went out and found her mother. Will the real Mary Morann please stand up? It is number 3. Mary, we'll get back to you in just a second. Let's find out about our imposters. Number 1, tell us about yourself, please.
My name is Peggy Marchant. I'm a retired secondary school teacher, and I love to do ballroom dancing.
You do? All righty. Number 2, with that beautiful smile that earned you 2 votes from our panelists.
I'm Marcy Woods, and I make teddy bears.
You make teddy bears?
I make teddy bears.
Then I'll have to talk to you after the program because I collect teddy bears. Well, Mary, it took you how long to find your mother?
7 years after I had read the book.
What's the first thing you said to her when you met her?
Well, I walked up to her door to see if she really were my mother, and when I saw the eyes, I said yes. I went back to the car, then went around to the corner and telephoned her and asked her if she was the lady I was looking for.
Gosh, I'd have been in tears all the way. Let's meet the mother in question, ladies and gentlemen. Mary's mother, Mary Breland. Mrs. Breland, a question for you. Your daughter said in her affidavit that she always felt that a part of her was missing. I'm sure you felt the same way.
I did. I prayed every day that someday I'd know what happened to her.
Well, we're all so delighted that this turned out to be a very happy ending. Thank you for being with us today. There were 2 incorrect votes at $500 each. That means the team will receive $1,000. And we thank you all for being with us on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back to play one-on-one right after this.
Let's take out my son's grass and dirt stains.
Grass and dirt don't stand a chance against new OxyClean. I'll even add some greasy barbecue sauce. Put the power of OxyClean right on the mess. Now OxyClean overpowers more tough stains than ever.
Unbelievable.
Use it for getting rid of all your household stains. It cleans without the damaging effects of chlorine. New and improved OxyClean. Nothing works better.
Take back the game at GSN.com.
All right, let's get to playing one-on-one with somebody from our studio audience. Charlie O, who have we got today?
Alex, say hello to this gentleman. This is Alex D. Gregorian from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Mexico. Hi, Alex.
Hi. Welcome aboard. Here's a chance for you to make some money. I'm sure that'll come in handy. Let me introduce a woman with 2 fascinating stories to tell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Margot Washington Hall. Now, Al, Ms. Hall is going to tell us 2 stories, only one of which happens to be the truth. You spot the true story, you'll earn $500 in cash.
Right.
Margot, would you tell us your first story, please?
Sure. I am the great-great-great-great-grandniece of George Washington.
There are 5 greats in there and 1 grand. Now, that may or may not be the truth, as you know, Alex, so we'd better listen to story number 2. Margot?
I am a bargain hunter. Everything I'm wearing, from my shoes to my jewelry, only cost me $17.84.
Aha. All right, to help you out, Al, each of our panelists will ask 1 question. We'll start with the Washington story. Great-great-great-great-great-grandniece.
What was the name of your great-great-great-great-grand aunt?
Well, I'm related to Samuel, and Samuel's wife was named Mary.
Thank you.
David.
How did you find this out?
Through my father, who's kept track of it for years. We have a family historian.
Dana.
What's your all-time favorite portrayal of George Washington? Who do you think is the most true to your great-great-great-great-grandfather? No.
Yeah, uncle.
Uncle. The latest TV special on George Washington, I can't remember. Oh, was it Barry Bosworth?
Barry Bosworth.
Yes, I thought he did a wonderful job.
Orson.
Well, my ancestor knew your ancestor. He was the foremost bartender of the American Revolution, Mike. He poured the shot heard around the world. It's a little-known fact. Now, did your great-uncle really wear wooden teeth?
No,
he
did not.
All righty. Al, you've heard Margot's first story. Now let's get to story number 2. The bargain hunter. Kitty.
Well, your outfit is beautiful, but how much did your shoes cost?
$3.
David.
Well, Kitty really wants to know, where did you get your earrings from?
Consignment shop.
Okay.
Dana?
You're a woman close to my own heart. I love bargains. Now, where do you find these? Do you go to swap meets or?
Yes, or churches quite often have bazaars and things like that. Consignment shops are my favorite places.
Orson?
Now, I assume these are previously adorned sartorial outfits.
Some you can find that have been taken in there and are still brand new.
Really?
All right. Al, you've heard the cross-examination. It's up to you. If you want to win $500, you have to tell us, is Margot the great-great-great-great-grandniece of George Washington, or is she the bargain hunter?
Well, Alex, her clothes really look nice, and they look very expensive. I like shopping, so I think she's the great-great-great-great-grandniece of George Washington.
Ah, I love your logic. You go down, you take us down one road, and then you suddenly switch back to the other side and say, I'm going for the Washington story. Margot, what is your true story, please?
To tell the truth, I am the great-great-great-great-grandniece of George Washington.
Congratulations to you, Al. That's $500 in cash.
Thank you.
Margot, you said you have somebody in the family who keeps track of all of this, and you happen to own some of Martha Washington's
We have,
stuff.
well, my parents have 2 plates and a cup. That's all we have.
That's it?
Unfortunately, yes.
And how were these authenticated?
A friend of my parents' aunt had the certificate of authenticity, but unfortunately, when she died, it was misplaced, so we don't have the certificate, but we do know that they belong to Martha, yes.
Well, it's a marvelous story, and we thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Margot Washington Hall. We'll be back right after these words.
Phil Locke is a great poker player, but it is time for him to go down.
James Woods, actor, sure. Card player, not so sure.
Poker Royale, the James Woods Gang versus the Unabombers. Premiering tonight at 10 with back-to-back episodes.
Richard Dawson smooths out family friction on Family Feud next. Then catch Blockbusters and Password Plus on GSN.
Remember, folks, in a couple of weeks on this program, To Tell the Truth, we'll give you a chance to win a date with your favorite soap opera stars. So be sure and keep watching. So long.
I'm the master reptile.